All right. How we doing? So, just real quick, not going to talk wrestling for a second as my phone proceeds to go off. Jesus Christ. There it goes. Silent. Yeah. Screw you, motherfucker. Okay. So, some of the things I've been listening to the last few days. Number one is a 2020 release on the Sony Records called Aunt Aunt Cynthia's Cabin, Misty Woman, the debut album. This is with the freaking deep purple Burn looking inside, except it's real candles. Well, Burn had real candles too, just carved to look like each member's face and head. This is if you're a fan of, especially the first half of this album, like with Kennel and the Dog, Misty Woman, Rider in the Desert Sun Part 1 and Part 2. If you're a fan of Caius, uh, Red Mesa, any of the Caius spinoffs, like Mondo Generator, the one-off Vistachino, Nick Oliveri solo, and Brant Bjork solo outside of Mondo Generator, and a little bit of a Low Rider. This would be right up your alley. In the second half, Black and Blue, the demo In the Valley, Grains of Sand. Then it gets more into the Uncle Acid, Mind Control, creepy psych acid delivery. So I think if what I've said, Elephant Tree is a more recent band too that would fit as well. Lowrider's recent too. What am I saying? But you get the idea. On Cynthia's Cabin, Misty Woman. Check this out. You will not be disappointed, he says, reaching over his mic and talking even louder. Okay, moving on. Gonna keep these in alphabetical order. Stanley Clark's Rocks, Pebbles, and Sand. OG, still in the old sleeve. Near mint all around. Honestly, I think I paid $3.99 for this. So this is 1980. The first Fairlight had come out at this point, and Gabriel had only just been introduced to it. You're not going to hear any Fairlight on this. This is just after 3 years after the dissolution of Return to Forever. I mention this because Chick Corea does moonlight here in a couple of passages. He comes in with his Moog 15 and 35 synths, and he just lays down these just absolute rhythmic passages that just sink in and out from time to time, more so on the second side. I say this because, again, this is 1980. The first side of this album is definitely my favorite. Keep in mind that you had the new wave of British heavy metal starting up. Judas Priest had or was about to break into the mainstream US radio with a leaner, tighter, more hooky-based, anthemic British Steel LP. So, and ZZ Top was touring the world yet for Deguelo from 79, and they'd be about to record El Loco to be released in 81, and AC/DC put out Back in Black. The reason I specify this is because the A-side is Stanley Clark saying, I want to do more of a boogie, moving, hard rock, blues type of album. So the first side of this, Danger Street, All Hell Broke Loose, the title track, and Underestimation. Man, the A-side is basically a ZZ Top album from an incredible bass player. And I swear the only thing missing if Stanley wasn't doing the vocals himself would be, I could have swear between I forget who the guitar players are off the top of my head right now. I forgot to say Steve. So it almost sounds like ZZ Top. You could almost picture the Reverend Willie G singing the lyrics on the first side of this album. The Blasters that we're starting up and about to get their first album out too, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, this is if you love ZZ Top, especially 77 to 81 ZZ Top. The A side of this album is For You. The B side is where it gets interesting because you turn it over and it starts with a throwback to late 70s, you know, disco, R&B, jazz with You Me Together. It's just a really soulful duet. For some reason, I couldn't find who the hell was singing that. I don't. I don't ask me why I couldn't find who. I couldn't. I looked through the credits and it wasn't there. But you go from this Texas blues rock boogie to all of a sudden here's a duet that's attempting to be Donna Summer or Gloria Gaynor to start off side two. Um, we Supply. Then there was The Story of a Man and Woman is this long suite, and that's where Courier really starts popping up a lot more. I didn't even think it was him, but part one is like She Thought I Was Stanley Clark, then A Fool Again. I Nearly Went Crazy. Uh, this is a solid album as long as you don't mind the dichotomy that like side A is its own EP and side B could be its own separate 45 EP as well. We Supply on the second side was cool because Clark hits this massive funk groove on the bass that I said, wow, Tony Levin was really influenced by this. I could tell just by the picking, the playing, the time signature. For those of you who don't know, he's the right-hand bassist for both Peter Gabriel and King Crimson. And if you were to speed up We Supply to go faster, it would definitely fit on a Les Claypool solo album or the Frog Brigade or even Primus as part of a jam. But again, I loved connecting the influences that Stanley had on Tony, and we all know how much Les Claypool loves King Crimson and 80s King Crimson especially. So to connect the dots with this album, I was like, oh, ooh, I really like this. I might order the next one after this Time Exposure. I found a very good plus all around for $3 on Discogs. And that's even more in the blues rock vein of things, the ZZ Top vein. Okay, keep going because I want to put these back in real easy alphabetical order. This is from 2021. This is a band called Druid Lord. Is it? Oops. Relics of the Dead. Yeah, look at that back cover. Boy, this album cover reminds me a lot of Gates of Slumber, and they had a spin-off name that sounded like it was very like Norwegian, and then Gates of Slumber reunited about 4 years ago, I want to say, is the printed out thing. Hold on, I'm gonna dig out the badass death metal artwork, and then the actual album looks like that. If you can even find this copy now, I got lucky. I got this used. Dead wax. As I now proceed to struggle putting everything back. What else is new? That's just my life. If you're a fan of Yob, maybe it's not as prog as Blood Incantation, but the OG Masters Incantation. Doom, Death, Titans. I don't want to say Pallbearer because it's got more of the extreme. It's got more of the guttural vocals, but you're still in that wheelhouse. So if this is a more recent band, I think they have an album out from a couple of years ago, but Druid Lord. With the bands I've just said, I think you get an idea of what's coming your way. So if that's your thing, go check out Druid Lord. Wait, I'll give you a couple songs. 13 Days of Death, Mangled as the Hideous Feed, and I really loved Festering Tombs. Yeah, okay. So last night I was going through my stack upstairs and I found that I still had a sealed copy of last year's RSD release of Peter Gabriel's, is it Avo, the Millennium Dome album that he wrote. And this thing is pretty beautiful. One slab is blue, one is a light blue, and the other one is a bright orange. 2LP. This is all 13 tracks, so it matches up with the special edition, except it puts the story of Ovo or Avo at the beginning of the album as it originally was. For Gabriel, this is interesting because he wanted to channel all different types of music through the British identity. So you're gonna get like a didgeridoo straight out of Australia. You're gonna get a hurly burly. There's the Dole Foundation for more, uh, you know, African vibes or Indian vibes. There's some stuff that would perfectly be out of the stylistically, instrumentally, is straight out of East Asia. And for those who are saying, well, how's that part of the British culture? Did you not pay attention in history class? They colonized the entire fucking world, basically. So all those mixed cultures got brought into the empire. And Gabriel just wanted to touch everything of the identity. The idea was to even include this, the third track as a giant 3-minute section where it's just a total Irish jig. You know, you don't know what the hell you're gonna get, but it's Gabriel. You should expect the king of world music would go everywhere with his sonic and choices. Tony Levin pops up on 4 songs on bass, where there's more synth bass and basic stuff like that. Basic bass. That's Gabriel himself doing it. But when it gets a little more extreme, a little bit more tribal, a little bit faster, it's Tony Levin on there. Also, from the CD album, they made a full-blown repress of the comic telling the story of Ovo. And it's... I'm going to read this before I go head downstairs and put this all up in my other shelves. So it tells the story of 3 generations of a family. The old ones who are tied to nature. The first son, Ion, who becomes essentially a technocrat, and one of the lyrics is man feed machine, machine feed man type of thing. And it leads to the collapse of society, trying to find human identity through struggle and reconnecting with nature. And the son, the grandson, flies away on this floating nest. That's what the artwork has to do with it. It gets a little out there. But if I had to pick songs for you, the main one, which he's done live quite a bit in the last few years, is The Tower That Ate People. Make Tomorrow is wonderful. Richie Havens does some of the vocals on this, and I'm forgetting somebody else. I'm forgetting the singer from the Cocteau Twins, Elizabeth Fraser. Yes, Paul Buchanan's on here too. So, Tower That Ate People. The story of Ovo opens up with rap, which might surprise you for a Gabriel album, but it was 99 when he was putting it together, and he just looked and said, yeah, that's the number one way we're going to get to speak to people now. That's what the youth want. So he adapted. More power to him. The Time of the Turning, Downside Up, White Ashes. If you want, I could suggest, I don't know if this version is what's on Spotify and YouTube Music, but they definitely uploaded for a higher quality. They definitely used the original tracks either way from 2000. So you could find it. I didn't even know that album existed until 2 years ago. And I listened part way through and I went, hey, this is actually pretty cool. And I walked into my local record reunion. It was the very last copy for $48. And it sat in my damn wall unit for the last year unplayed. Go figure. So I broke out last night and played it 3 times through each side. It's a grower of an album. It'll take a second to get used to it, but once you got used to Security and Us, Passion, Birdman. Or what was that one called? Was it? No, it was Passion. No, Passion was Last Temptation of the Christ. The Birdman was just called Birdie. Woo! Having a bit of a brain fart there. Okay. Heart Magazine. This is not the original unauthorized 77 edition. This is the authorized reissue from 78, because this technically became the second album, not Little Queen. But man, this is just an incredible album. It's short, but it's still incredible. Heartless to open it up. Just the Wine, Without You, the title track, and then the live covers to end it. Mother Earth Blues, I've Got the Music in Me. Anne is just burning things down left and right vocally, as she always used to. I saw them when they reunited for the 2019 Love Alive tour, and they opened here in St. Louis right after the Blues won the Stanley Cup. Go figure. And damn, they were still lighting it up at that point. Here we are now, what, 6-7 years later, and now she's having troubles on the vocals. I mean, it is what it is. She's been doing this since 72. So, yeah, and there's just her own guitar and some backing vocals. It is what it is. But for those that actually don't know this album, you're in for a treat. Okay. I'm leaving the Gabriel over here for right now. All right. So, Lucifer's Friend. Not quite almost a promo copy. This is the album before Mean Machine. This is Mike Starrs' second and final album with the band, called Sneak Me In. Front cover, on the back, she's looking through the car and she gets caught by the other security guard or the watchman. This is a lot more focused than the predecessor, whereas, oh God, I can't think of the album before this. Whatever. Whereas the first album was more in the hard rock, trying to be Nazareth, and a bit of Thin Lizzy, because it was, 78, 79. This one is 1980. This is closer to that switch over to AOR. Oh, the last album, Good Time Warrior. Woo! There we go. Brain farts. So, this is more in the vein of Styx, of Kansas. The first track off the gate, Goodbye Girls, honestly, stylistically, and the way Starrs does it, he was the singer from Coliseum too. I'll be damned if that didn't sound like an Elton John leftover track, like Elderberry Wine, The Bitch Is Back, some more up-tempo things from Don't Shoot Me, I'm Just a Piano Player, Crocodile Rock. That's kind of what they're going for. The title track is pretty damn good. Love Him, I didn't care for at first, but on the third play, okay, I was fine with it. Now, where it gets interesting is, again, they're going for the Kansas, like I said, Styx sound. So a couple of these tracks, like Star Dancer, Foxy Lady, those could easily fit on, let me think, is it audiovisual? No, audiovisual is too late. It could fit on Equinox, for instance. This is a band that was starting off as early metal, then went psych, then went prog, then they went hard rock, and now they're trying to be AOR with some rock. It's really polished. There are times where Mike is singing a little bit more full vibrato, and Indian Summer or Don't You Know What I Like, where the Jefferson Starship influences pop up again. But whereas Mean Machine had more of the 81, 82 Starship, this is more of the OG Marty Balin era, when they first turned over from Airplane. So think a Sunfire, Red Octopus kind of influence bleeds into some of these as well. Don't You Know What I Like? Or no, Indian Summer. some of the riffing and everything wouldn't be out of place on Thin Lizzy's Renegade album. You know, you think Mexican Blood, Fats, the title track. So we've definitely got some twin guitar attacking here going on, but compared to Good Time Warrior, which was closer to, say, like a Bad Reputation or what would end up on Parts of Chinatown. This is more of that Renegade, Thin Lizzy. My favorite of all, though, might be Cosmic Crusader, which closes the album. That's where that is completely. He goes full Freddie Mercury on the delivery, on the range, and it gets a little sci-fi like. Yeah, I can even say that would Sneak Me In. It gets a little bit of that Paul Chapman UFO era too. But Cosmic Crusader felt like a leftover somewhere like Queen was planning to do from jazz to Play the Game. I'm rambling more than I wanted to, but I'm just trying to give you the ideas what you're gonna hear on these Lucifer Friends albums, the two oddballs. That's the thing with the band. I'm listening to these and I'm saying these aren't bad. I know people wanted the krautrock, the blues swagger, and higher yelling of John Lawton, but there's nothing wrong with more of a theatrical rock singer, and the band just trying to stay afloat at a time when everything was changing over. That's what Good Time Warrior and Sneak Me In are. It's adjusting to what's going on while people are pissed that that dynamic singer they had, that more aggressive bluesy singer that they had, was in Uriah Heep for a trilogy. So they did what they had to. And if you approach it open minded with what's going on at the time, that knowledge up front, not, you weren't there back in the day and you lived it, each album in a row, I think you're really going to appreciate those two transition albums. Hell, the first three albums are transition albums, technically, like I said. And last but not least for now, before I get to my OG Japanese press of Herbie Hancock's VSOP, Tempest in the Coliseum. Ooh, you're going to love seeing that. An album I bought 5-6 years ago and never listened to. It's Donna Summers, Live and More. I've paid $5. It's still got the original flat piece that folds out. The damn gatefold itself is in mostly trifold, I should say, is in mostly good shape for the. I bet you now, even with the if I said this was very good, almost very good plus, it'd be very good because of the wear on the corners. The vinyl is near mint. Now, I bet you I could probably turn around and sell this for like $12 now at least. My only complaint is it's that old school auto couple, the auto DJ machine. What I can't think of what the fuck it's called right now. So you have, for slab 1, it's side 1, side 4, and slab 2 is side 2, side 3. So now you gotta stand there, play side 1, yank it off, put it back in the inner sleeve, dig out the other album, play both sides, put that away, and then put the first slab back on to play it. One of the things I despise most about my double LP record collections when I get live albums, if you don't pay attention, sometimes you have to find the international versions because they don't fuck around like that. I hate having to do that shit, because I've just got a Pioneer PL 200 from 79 or 80. I mean, top notch for the time. But I hate having to do that extra work because it's just so fucking senseless. That said, moving on from that diatribe, side 4 is the original full MacArthur Park medley. That's the studio side of it. All 17 and almost 18 minutes of it, not edited down. The rest of it is just, God, she was just on top with all these double albums in a row. Once Upon a Time, Fairy Tale High, These go like a medley where they're like 2 minutes to 3 minutes. They just keep carrying on. Rumor has it, you go to side two, only one man. I remember yesterday, my man medley, the way we were. Now, I'm going to assume some of you know what the Barbra Streisand version, I would think. Mimi's song is actually really spectacular. I Feel Love. She is. This is the queen of disco for a reason. And to think, her biggest album came out right after this, another double LP, and that's the one, Dirty Girls, with Hot Stuff of all things on it on the radio. That still hasn't come out yet. This is, and she's still killing it platinum with this. Of course, that album came out right after, and woo, way up the charts on the sales. Uh, you know, in the last couple of years, listening to people trying to occasionally bring in the disco beats and people talking about who was it? Was it Taylor Swift with that last album? I don't fucking listen to Taylor Swift. I probably should dip my head in just to know what the hell is going on more often. People talking about songs like Wood and everything. I'm going, she ain't got the balls to sing half the shit that Donna Summer ever sang or wrote. Most of you people would probably get canceled today with some of the new ones. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I used to listen to the kids, yeah, Little Yachty, Tech Nine, and all that stuff at my work. Hey, if you want to teach them and guide them through life and help them make life changes, you got to be able to fit in, be cool, and then introduce them to the shit that made all that possible in the first place. And oh, now we get it. He's not just some old cracker. Oh God, I do miss my job, even if it did put me into a damn state of alcoholism and landed me in rehab. I still miss making a difference. But trailing off again on a different rant. So yeah, that's gonna be it for now. I'm waiting on Lucifer Friends, the '94 return album when they were called Lucifer Friends 2, Sumo Grip to come in. I haven't put in orders for old school represses of the first two albums. It's when one is with shipping 31 and the other one with shipping is 40 for good condition, and they're represses because they're the originals. Good God, you're going to go back $60 and they're going to be beat the crap and they're still $60. Still trying to track down another the 2016 album. I did find one of the 2019. That's gonna be like $30 too because it's a CD and they barely printed any. It's nuts, guys. I love collecting. I love going through these journeys, but sometimes it's just a wallet killer. What I think I'm gonna do is I'll just cheat and go listen to some digital versions, and I'll come back with the Lucifer's Friend ranking albums maybe next week. We'll see how long I take to go through because there's still some brand new records I haven't played yet, and I want to go sort through these, put them away, and then yank out the albums that came before them and other things like that. It's a lot of fun. What I'm actually going to do the next video, Jesus Christ, 29 minutes. Wrapping it up, I saw you've talked too long. Next video is probably going to be my top 10 Deep Purple album openers. And some of those might surprise you. So I'm going to shut the hell up now. Call it a day. I don't feel like ranting about Ad Mania running wild. Raw last night actually wasn't god awful. Still too many commercials, but it wasn't as god awful as the last 4 years have been. The night after Mania. But yeah, that's it. If you stuck through this whole thing, bless you. Leave a comment. Hit like. If you actually feel like being generous enough to subscribe, cool. You hit like if you make it. Or if you don't make it. It's just good to be back here and going through all these. And I need to stop giving historical details and all these references. But the more you know and the more you want to deep dive, that's the whole point of this. both fun and mildly educational to pique your interest in what the hell's going on at the times. So I'm gonna cut this short. Jesus Christ, half hour. Woo! Gotta start cutting the food for dinner. All right. Till next time. I don't have to see you in hell. We're already in hell every day. Thanks a lot, guys.